It's a little bit into Season 1 now, and I think that it's about time that I do a review of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. After all, I did say that I would cover the game mode, and basically tell you guys what I think about it personally. Keep in mind that this is just my own personal opinion. It doesn't make your opinion wrong, it doesn't make my opinion right. So with all of that out of the way, let's jump into the review. Initially, I had my worries that this zombies game mode would be really bad. I knew that it wasn't going to be round-based zombies. I knew it was going to be a switch up from the regular formula. So to be completely honest with you, I wasn't really having high expectations or high hopes for this game to be very good. And as a longtime Call of Duty Zombies player, as well as someone that dabbled in Modern Warfare 2's DMZ mode, I thought there would be some good potential, but I didn't know if anyone would really get into it. Between that and the fact that the game was rushed and made within 6 to 8 months or something like that, and it was based off of Infinity Ward's Year 2 DLC, that's what it was supposed to be, I really didn't know what to expect. But let's get into the game's launch, and actually trying out the game for the first time. Maybe this has to do with me having very low expectations in the first place, but Modern Warfare 3 Zombies exceeded my expectations. As someone who enjoyed Cold War zombies, I was pretty happy to see the perks that we're familiar with from that game be reintroduced into this game, with very similar effects. And I gotta say, I really enjoy the armor plate system, because in Cold War, I wasn't a big fan of scrounging up all that salvage just to upgrade your armor, and then you're repairing your armor, and it was just tedious, and it took a long time to gather all that scrap. Now you might be saying, well, the progression, I get it, okay? But there is some sort of a progression to getting a 3-plate armor vest, and there's also risks of losing it later on. Another thing that I'm really enjoying is the rucksack system. So you can open up your rucksack, you can have different equipment stowed in it that you might need in a match, like you can pick up different lethals and different useful tactical grenades and stuff like that. Like let's say you load into a match with decoy grenades because you get yourself in a lot of dangerous, intense situations where you can just throw a decoy grenade. It acts like a monkey bomb, but it doesn't take as long to throw as a monkey. It doesn't blow up, but it distracts all the zombies from you, right? And then let's say in your backpack you're holding a couple of Casimirs, the things that make the black holes, right? Suck all the zombies into it. You can equip those at any time, swap out your equipment from your rucksack back and forth. However you want to use that equipment that you've either spawned in with or gathered during the match. It kind of allows you to be a little creative with how you're going to approach things. I think while we're talking about the rucksack system, it's important to bring up the buy station system. Let's just say you can find pretty well anything that's in the buy station, around the map, in the mystery box. But let's say you got a little bit of money, and you don't want to take a random chance at the mystery box. You can go to the buy station, you can buy some of these things, like large rucksacks, 3-plate armor vests, self-revives, different kill streaks that you can use, like a juggernaut, which is pretty damn cool. I'll just use this as an example for how the buy station comes in handy. So let's say today I was in the red zone, the tier 3 zone, where all the zombies are the hardest and whatnot. And I was doing contracts, trying to get all sorts of different rewards and goodies from the reward rifts, right? And I just went to the buy station because I had all these points from doing these contracts there. Bought an extra juggernaut, deployed the juggernaut and picked it up and just machine gunned them all down, any enemy pretty well, and that helped me get the things that I was looking for out of the reward rifts. It was really, really useful. Now I'm going to assume there's going to be some people that haven't played the game because they weren't sure about the game. Maybe they're still looking into the game, maybe they didn't like what they seen. But I'll explain something for you. You might be wondering, what's the point of the extraction part of the game? Isn't that just a little too OP, finding all this stuff and then you exfil with it? Not really. It kinda, yeah, for the base gameplay, but if you're setting up for certain fights and whatnot, and doing certain things, it's really good and it helps you set up the next game, especially considering that the game mode is kind of timed for like, I think you get 45 minutes before the gas starts expanding, or the radiation zone, or whatever you want to call it. So there's different items around the map, like undrank perk Coca-Cola cans, and you can extract with those. You got aether tools of different rarities, which will increase the strength of your base gun without the pack-a-punch. You can extract with aether crystals. You got like pack 1, pack 2. If you're really lucky and you're doing contracts in the tier 3 area, you might even find a pack 3 crystal. You start off with just your basic small rucksack. You can find or buy a medium rucksack. You can find or buy a large rucksack. Same with the armor vests. You start off with 1 armor plate. You can find or buy a 2 armor plate vest. And you can find and buy a 3 armor plate vest. Basically, they're usually in different zones. I think they added the 3 plate vest into the orange zone, so you don't have to go and buy them in the red zone, or the tier 3 zone, I should say. So let's say that you go in the next game and you're doing a harder mission, and you're like, man, I really need all these things. Well, you can find those things and keep those things, as long as it's basically what I've stated so far. You don't keep like just random things that you can sell or essence from game to game. You earn that stuff. Or there's things that you just load in with, like your tactical and lethal equipment, whatnot, right? When you extract, you don't keep the rarity of your gun that you extracted with. You don't keep the level of pack-a-punch that it was when you extracted. You have to do that again the next game. So finding these aether tools and pack crystals are kind of nice. Especially if you need to set up real quick within, you know, the 45-minute timer before the radiation or whatever starts spreading. Now your ears might have perked up when I said missions. Now there's several missions. There's quite a few missions in Act 1, 2, and Act 3. You get through the missions and you unlock different sets of missions, and then you get to a story mission at the very end of the act. And that story mission is some sort of a fight. Maybe you're extracting something or someone from that area that you're fighting in. And then maybe the other act is you're doing some sort of a fight as well. And then it leads into a boss fight. And that's right. The story missions is mostly like what's going on in the story. There's little bits of story thrown in here and there throughout the game, but the big chunks of the story, they're in the story missions and the cutscenes that you get after completing the story missions. And the different missions for each act are actually kind of worth doing, because you'll get like straight up a perk can in your stash under the rewards section. You'll unlock a schematic for crafting perks that you can just load into. Let's say, once again, you're doing something hard the next game, you're time limited. You can bring in those perks that you need, the ones that you rely on, right? You'll earn all sorts of reward items for doing them. Plus, you'll earn schematics for certain items that you can craft, including, like, I think it was like it was in Act 3, there was a mission that you did. You unlock the Wonderwaff schematic. So every 2 days, every 48 hours, you can craft a Wonderwaff, and that'll help you out with whatever you're trying to do. Let's say it's something real hard with lots of really strong zombies. That's going to help you out a ton. By doing the missions, you'll earn all sorts of different reward items. You'll be rewarded with schematics even for crafting perks and whatnot. Even in the Act 3 missions, there's one where you get the schematic for the Wonder Waff. Let's say you're doing something with a lot of really strong zombies and it's a really hard thing that you're trying to do. That's going to help you out a lot if you have a couple of those stashed. Once you have a schematic, you don't need to get that schematic again. You can craft that item that you have the schematic for over and over and over again. But here's the catch. The better the item, the longer you have to wait to craft it. So let's say you just crafted a perk. It's going to take about 3 hours until you can recraft that perk. Let's say you just crafted a Wonder Waff. It's going to take 48 hours until you can craft another Wonder Waff again. So given that the matches are timed, it doesn't make you incredibly OP, but if you're doing something the next match and you're like, I really need a power boost for what I'm doing, then crafting a Wonder Waff is great. Also, got a little sidetracked with the crafting part. But yeah, for the missions. So let's say you finish Act 1. You'll earn a second insured weapon slot. We'll cover the insured weapon slot after. If you finish Act 2, you get your third insured weapon slot. If you finish Act 3, you get a really cool operator skin called the Bone Collector. It's a skeleton with red eyes, real cool looking. And now we'll talk about the insured weapon slots. So yeah, you can either, find guns, bring them back with you, extract with them. You have a stash for like about 20 different guns you can stash. And you have your insured weapon slots, which are your own customized, personalized guns that you make that you can load into the game with. Let's say something goes awry, goes pretty bad, you get downed, no one revives you, you kind of just quit the game. Well, then you're gonna lose those insured weapons for like, I don't know, maybe 2 hours or so. But playing the game, you can reduce the cooldown, reduce the amount of time in which you have to wait to get your insured weapon back. So if you know there's certain things, certain loadouts that are really good for certain situations, you can make those guns and set them as your insured guns, your insured weapon, and go into any match with those. So that's pretty decent. I like that. The next thing I'm going to kind of compliment is the weapon camo grind. It's not a bad weapon camo grind, it's not overly complicated. If you played multiplayer and ever grinded the camos on multiplayer, kind of works the same way. Just, you're killing zombies in certain specific ways to get these camos, right? Now, I've been saying a lot of good things about the game, things that I personally like about the game, and things that I think make Modern Warfare 3 Zombies pretty decent. But now I'm going to cover some of the things that weren't so great, or maybe it could have used more time developing. The game as it launched, it was pretty buggy. It still is kind of a little buggy right now. Nothing too game breaking or whatever, but some goofy looking things. Actually, in fact, I remember sometime after launch, I was playing with a random, and I placed down a sentry gun, and it insta-killed the random teammate that I had. And he fell through the map, and I couldn't revive him or anything. So what the hell was that, I guess. I don't believe that that's still an issue. Placing down the sentry turret too close to a teammate and perma-killing them, but it was pretty whack. I know, I'm still playing a PS4. I'm probably getting a PS5 soon. But anyways, the garage doors where there's LTVs for these contracts, they're being guarded by bots, the mercenary bots. And basically you have to go in, take out the 2 mercenaries or 3 mercenaries guarding it, and then you go and drive this LTV and an attack helicopter chases you, and you deliver the LTV to a friendly helicopter that takes the cargo from the back of the LTV. Well, the garage doors weren't loading in at all. You could just see the mercenary bots just standing inside and wallbang them. That would be another thing that they fixed with the Season 1 update. The doors do load in now, but it was pretty goofy. But here's something that's still broken today. The zombies will just spawn in the middle of the air and walk through the air. I've even seen a zombie just yesterday hop onto a helicopter, and then it was walking on the helicopter, and because the helicopter took off, the exfil helicopter, the zombie was like walking through the air, and then it like did like this zigzag pattern up and down in the air, and then it finally ended up running on the ground. It's like, what did I just witness? I think it was just before the Season 1 update. There was a zombie just running into a corner, into like this like concrete barrier thing, and a corner of a building, just running into the corner, and he wasn't interested in going after me or anything. He was just sprinting into the corner. What are you doing, my man? I think one of the goofiest bugs that I've seen near launch, but I just seen it not long ago. I think it was like shortly after the Season 1 patch, maybe shortly before the Season 1 patch. But the disciples, the HVT disciple bosses, you'll start an HVT contract to go hunt these guys down, right? They're just the stronger versions of the special zombies, right? And they'd just be cracked right out. They'd be like ping pong balls just bouncing off the walls, and then they would just zoom off into the ocean and never to be seen again. Like, where's this guy going? He doesn't want to fight, he wants to go swimming, I guess. Now, as funny as that sounds and as funny as it was, now when you're trying to do something within 45 minutes of time before this radiation starts spreading, and I'm trying to do contracts to earn more money, I don't want my HVT disciple running off into the ocean. That's kind of a piss off. Just a bit. After the Season 1 update, I've also been noticing with the Escort the Cargo, that LTV contract, I've also noticed that sometimes the LTV will be like stuck in the garage. I don't know what's going on there, but it'll say hold square to enter, right? But it won't let you enter it. It's just stuck there, and you have to hold, you gotta open up your attack map, hold triangle to cancel the contract, and then go find another contract to do. Kind of disappointing. Another thing I think is kind of disappointing is I really like the idea of the Dark Aether rifts that they have added in the Season 1. I really like the Dark Aether version of Al Bagra Fortress, that's from the Al Mazrah map. I really like the concept of it. I like how it looks, it's cool. I like what's going on there. But I was fighting the boss there solo, and the first time trying it, I almost had him dead. Like, I was doing it legitimately, no exploits or anything, and I had him on like a little chunk of health before I actually fully died and ran out of self-revives and stuff. Now, if you try to do that, there's just no way you're even getting that close, I don't think. You're just gonna get screwed. Unless you have the golden armor plates and stuff already unlocked. I think that it was already somewhat challenging for the solo player to defeat that boss in the Dark Aether. but they saw a bunch of people go in with 6-man squads and they're like, people are doing this too easily. So they made it harder for everyone, even the solo guy. How is that fair? Why aren't they doing some sort of scaling system? Like, the more people you go in with, the harder it's going to be. But maybe you can get it done easier because you have 6 people. Why punish the solo player? I don't understand that. It also seems like they really made the drop rates much worse for like rarer loot. Like if you're trying to get schematics, then it's gonna be even harder now after they made a patch. And I think they're just trying to balance things right now so it's not too easy to get special loot, but you'll still get it sometimes. Like they have done little tweaks and it is better than it initially was when they nerfed it. And I mean, I get it. Like, I was getting all sorts of refined crystals, epic aether tool, flawless crystal, legendary aether tool. Like, and it was a lot of that. Also, I don't know how many people went into the dark aether rifts and got all 3 classified schematics, the dog bone, the golden regenerating armor plates, and the aether blade schematics, all in one go. One trip to the dark aether, and they got all 3. Like, what? I've gotten cases for them occasionally. I haven't gotten any schematics yet. They nerfed that crap into the ground. I get wanting to have people work a little more for the reward and not get them so easily and abundantly, but at the same time it's like you kind of made it really ridiculously hard. Like you shouldn't be making something feel impossible to get at the same time. So we need to find a good balance there, okay, Treyarch? Because I've played a lot of this game, a lot of Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, and I've got a lot of rewards for playing it a lot. But at the same time, I play it a lot, you shouldn't be punishing me for playing the game a lot, and just like, here, play it even more then. You don't have to make it that hard. I want there to be a better balance so then I still feel like I'm being rewarded for the time I'm putting into the game. Trust me, making rewards near impossible to get isn't going to retain your player base. It isn't going to keep people satisfied and coming back, oh, maybe I'll get it this time, maybe I'll get it this time. Because they're not going to get it, and not going to get it, and not going to get the reward, and they're going to get frustrated and think, am I ever going to get this reward that I'm looking to get? And then they're probably going to quit playing the game, not continue to play the game, to try and try and try to get nothing. Another thing I thought was kind of disappointing is the Act 4 reward. So all you get for going into the Dark Aether and fighting that boss is what, a weapon charm and some XP? A weapon charm. You really thought that was cool? That was a good next step after giving us the Bones Collector operator? Like, what were you thinking there? Like, there better be something better for Act 5 or whatever is coming up next, because a weapon charm? That's just... I don't even care about weapon charms. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that feel the same. Like, who cares about a weapon charm? Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up now. Come to my conclusion here. Do I think that Modern Warfare 3 Zombies is bad? Hell no. I've had lots of fun playing it. I've had lots of good times, lots of good moments too. Like, I've been giving people the ray gun plans because I already have the ray gun plans, so they can craft ray guns. Just revived a guy, I think it was today. I revived a guy in the tier 2 zone, the orange zone, and dropped him the ray gun plans, and he was probably like, holy crap, man. I just got the ray gun plans from some random guy that rescued me. I've had epic moments fighting mega abominations and special zombie types in the red area, the tier 3 area. Just gotta learn, strategize, do what you gotta do to survive in that harder zone. I generally like the characters, most of the characters in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. I like how the story connects with Cold Wars. So there's some recurring people. They're not very present in the story, but they're there. It's connected, and I like where the story's going. It's kind of modern. I'm pretty sure it takes place between Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2 from 2022. And I personally kind of like how it doesn't interfere with anything going on in Treyarch's next game. It's not letting off too much of what's going on in that next game. So I'm happy with that. I think if they could just work on some of the things I focus on that were pretty bad about the game, and a lot of the bugginess of the game, and they can fix that and find a good balance for a lot of that stuff, then the game will be in a better place, that's for sure. Like I said, I've had a lot of fun with this game. I do really like the game. I think there's some things that could be fixed, but overall it's a pretty good game. I personally would like to score this game out of 10. I'd like to give it a 9 out of 10. But until they can fix the things that I said need fixing, it's a pretty much maybe a 7 and a wet fart. A 7 and a shart out of 10. Now, if you stuck around for this whole review, consider leaving a like on the video. I've spent a good amount of time just kind of thinking about this stuff and recording things and re-recording things. I have a bit of a stutter, so it takes some tries at getting what I want to say out of my mouth without screwing it up. So any kind of support that you give to my channel, that'd be awesome. Very much appreciated, and I'll love you long time. If you want to check out some of my other content, you can. Subscribe if you like what I got going on. Check out some of the streams. Chill and chat with me. And yeah, I hope you all have a great New Year coming up, and a great Christmas. That'll be all for now. So I'll see you in the next video, or the next live stream.